Hey everyone, so here's a little update. Last time I checked in here on the channel, I was at the coast in Florence, Oregon. I'm not there anymore, or anywhere else in Oregon for that matter. A lot has happened since then, so let's talk about it. So, you may remember when I first came back to the United States from China. I was staying with my parents at their house in Eugene, Oregon. That was obviously going to have to be just a temporary setup. We were living in really close quarters with my parents, and eventually you do kind of want to, get out of such a situation. So I was spending a lot of time looking for jobs, sending out resumes to various school districts, and tried to apply for some jobs outside teaching. It took about a month of applying, but eventually I got a job offer at a school in Palmdale, California. Now, if any of you don't know, Palmdale is in Los Angeles County, but significantly north of Los Angeles. It's in an area called the Antelope Valley, which is over the mountains from most of the rest of the county. Anyway, though, since when I got the job and I accepted it, we got in our Honda Civic, packed some of our stuff into that, and the rest of it into my dad's pickup truck, since he graciously agreed to help us move. And we drove down here, moved in briefly to an Airbnb, but then eventually got an apartment here. And so we've been living here in Palmdale, California. Let's go have a quick look around Palmdale before we resume the story of what's been going on here. This is Palmdale. This is kind of the civic center, so to speak. Not very big, because Palmdale's not very big, but around here you've got like the city hall, the city clerk, cultural center. Over there is the city library. You got this nice big open square here. With a pretty little fountain. Over here. Some flowers. Purple flowers, y'all know I love those. And the fountain. Here at, anyone know how to pronounce this? Ponceland? Something like that. Square. Yeah, there's City Hall over there. They sometimes have events here. It's June at the time I'm filming this, and about a week ago they had a Juneteenth celebration here under this sort of gazebo type thing. It's a bit big for a gazebo, isn't it? Anyway, this is a quick look at the Civic Center here of Palmdale. Yeah. Here's Palmdale Boulevard, one of the main drags of the city. Shopping centers on both sides. Very typical Southern California. Of course, a non-chain, or at least not a large chain, burger joint over there, which is so typical for Los Angeles County, and I think much of the rest of Southern California too. Post office over there, all that kind of good stuff. So that's a quick look at Palmdale, where we've been living for a while. We got here at the beginning of November. The job started just a bit before Thanksgiving, and then I continued on holding it through Christmas, winter, through spring break. Then just after spring break, we got a bit of unfortunate news. Due to budget cuts, they were going to have to cut my position at the district. It was technically always a temporary position, but they had implied that as long as the budget turned out okay, it would be converted to a permanent one. Well, the budget wasn't okay, so that didn't happen. So Well, I had work until the end of the year anyway. I continued working to the end of the school year, while I also started looking for a new job. Up to that point, I hadn't used any days off of work, but after that, I ended up taking lots of days off of work as I was running around near and far trying to do interviews for some new positions. Some interviews were near, others were far. I went as far southeast as Colton, which is near San Bernardino, California, and as far northwest as Bakersfield. And that interview in Bakersfield turned out to be a lucky strike. That's where I got a job offer, and that's where I've recently accepted a job offer. So even though we just moved here to Palmdale not too long ago, we're going to be leaving soon, heading for Bakersfield, where we will have some advantages, like the fact that the cost of living is a bit cheaper there, but also, which isn't as near to Los Angeles and maybe not as prestigious. I don't know. Prestige shouldn't matter that much, should it? It's not too far from here anyway, less than 2 hours by car. Certainly, moving there is going to be a lot easier than moving all the way from China. Still, it's going to be a lot to do, and it has been a lot to do. In fact, this whole transition to the United States has been a lot. In the time I've been here, the biggest difference has just been the need to drive here. I spent my whole time in China car-free, and I came to rather like it, but it's just not an option here. For me, it really hasn't been too bad. I've been able to get back into the habit of driving without much trouble. The real problem has been with my wife. She's never learnt to drive before she came here, and never had a car or anything, or a driver's license even. Now, when we got here, she got a learner's permit pretty quick, which means we've been able to practice driving. Good. But thus far, she still has not been able to pass the behind-the-wheel driver's test to get a license, despite a couple of efforts to. So for now, she still doesn't have a driver's license, which means she ends up spending a lot of time at home, just because there's so little within walking distance of here, or that has any decent public transportation. That's been a little hard on her. I think she feels a little bored and kind of confined. Yeah. So even though we've been back for 9 months, I would still consider us to be in transition to the United States, to life in the United States. Despite some difficulties with this transition, we do expect to stay here and not return to China. So if you want to see what comes next here in the US, this would be a great time to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, as always. See you next time. Bye.